I played 200 days of Stardew Valley, but on hardcore mode. Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another video of Stardew Valley. For today's video, we are going to be continuing from our first 100 day hardcore Stardew Valley video. Let's see how far we can make it in these 100 days to perfection. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. This video took ages to make, so a subscription from yourself would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video and let's have some fun. Day 101, it is the wizard's birthday. Let's give him a lovely void essence and that's going to get him a lot of friendship points. 9 out of 10 hearts, we're almost there with the wizard. So it's going to be a big boost for these 100 days to max out all of the relationships with all of the NPCs. I also needed just a few fish left to get to capture all the fish in the game. So I headed down into the caves, got the stonefish, the ghost fish, also fished up the ice pip as well. That was quite the challenge. And I also got myself a lava eel. That was all of the fish in the mines out of the way. I also gave Clint the iron bar he was looking for. That completes another daily quest for us. That was 500 gold in the bag. So if you're new to this series, just so you know, the discount rate is set at 25%, meaning we're not going to get a whole lot of money anytime soon. However, fishing tackles such as the treasure hunter here will sell for full price, so we will try to abuse that to the best of our abilities. 250 gold per treasure hunter. On day 102 we get a letter from Mayor Lewis in regards to the upcoming Winter Star event. The person we got to gift this time around is Lewis himself. Fortunately, we do have a few things lying around the old farm that we can gift Lewis to get those lovely friendship points. Another help wanted quest today. Willie was looking for a pike, 300 gold. We absolutely were not going to pass that up. So I got a pike, gave that to Willie straight away, and that got some extra friendship points with Willie as well. So we were one step closer to maxing out friendship with Willie. So we headed on over to Ginger Island. We just needed a few more fish to get all of the fish in the game. So started with the lionfish there. I also got the stingray. I then started looking for artifacts for Professor Snail's archaeology quest. I got the mummified frog there from just whacking open the grass. A lot more artifacts to find here, including the fossilized legs that we can get from breaking open these bone nodes. And the bone fragments are also a huge bonus because later on we get the bone mills. They're going to save us so much money. Also hold up a golden walnut there as well that I missed the last time around. Inside Professor Snail's hut there was a survey we could do that had 2 questions. The first was purple flowers on the island, so that gave us a handy golden walnut, and the second was to survey the starfish around the island, purple starfish, and that got us another handy golden walnut as well. It was then time to take on the Nightmare Pylon puzzle, and you actually would not believe that I managed to do this on my first attempt. I just got a real easy combination of colours to choose from. I was so happy with this. Normally it takes me a full day to do this. Sometimes if I get desperate I take out my phone and record it, but first attempt, 3 golden walnuts in the bag. It was then off into the mines the next day, and this is one of the best places in the game you can go and get stone in my opinion. So much stone to be had, but more importantly, really nice rings and weapons to be had inside the volcano dungeon. I also got the fossilized tail later on that day, just from panning up some stuff out of the water. And there was a lot more artifacts I had to get. Fished up the fossilized spine here as well, so I was well on my way to completing Professor Snail's archaeology quests. I was getting a little bit worried about Rasmodius here. He wanted to study the arcane properties of a coconut. You know, first it was Willie with the copper ores, now I'm beginning to think Rasmodius might have some issues as well. But we did go to Clint and he did give us another archaeology piece from cracking open those golden coconuts. I also gave Evelyn a birthday gift today that was at more friendship points with her. That pushed her right up to 5 hearts out of 10. I then gave Rasmodius the coconut that he wanted. He gave me a nice reward, but more importantly I got friendship points with him as well. I also gave him a gift, but I didn't realise they gave him 2 gifts this week, so he would have to wait until tomorrow for fresh gifts. I also had a lovely resin farm here, and I had exactly 100 trees planted. That's 100 oak resins every couple of days I could amass. Now I have been amassing those for quite some time. I do have hundreds and hundreds of oak resins at the moment. Went inside the secret woods as well, just to farm more hardwood. So I finally got the star drop off Haley, just for getting her hearts up. And that is another star drop added to the bag, just a few star drops left to go. So I got a quest here from Robin. She wanted some hardwood. I said no problem at all, she'll get that eventually. I also got some crystallariums here as well, generating jades, and these are great for staircases that we trade in every Sunday. So I went to Professor Snail, completed the first of many archaeology quests, And I also had a few other bits and bobs to give him too. I also had taro tubers planted, and the reason why I planted those was to get more golden walnuts, just the farming aspect of it. Traded in my jades for staircases, and I spent the rest of the day just cutting down trees because I needed a lot more wood because I wanted to make a lot more cakes. It was time to harvest the lovely starfruit wine. Now with a 25% discount, the starfruit wine obviously isn't as potent as it usually is, but it's still good enough for us. Gave Robin the hardwood, she was super happy with that. More friendship points with Robin, and more importantly, more money in our pocket. A lovely 500 gold, thank you very much. The gains are small at the moment, but things will pick up later on in the video. It was time for another quest. It was Clint again, wanted to look at more copper ores. I was really worried about Clint. I thought about it for a while and if I should accept the quest or not. Eventually, I came to the conclusion of why not. I get to keep the ores myself. I didn't need them to make cakes anyway, so I might as well just pick up the money as well. So it was time for another quest. I went with community cleanup straight away. Fiber seeds are just way too overpowered to pass up. So I had 7 days to fish up some trash and I got to work on that immediately. Went straight down to floor 100 here. This is one of the best floors you can go to get trash. Lots of trash to be had. Completed that after the day. And that was another quest done for Linus, and as a reward he would give me the recipe to make fiber seeds, and they are just so handy. The 500 gold isn't the true reward, the true reward is the fiber seeds, trust me on that. You'll never need fiber again. So I visited Robin today and gave her some goat's cheese because it was her birthday, and she was super happy with that. That was at more friendship points with her, pushing her right up to 5 hearts out of 8. I then went down to the mines to do Clint's quest. So I was just breaking open some copper nodes here. I got loads of copper in no time at all. Having the extra perks, you know, for the +1 ore per vein helps as well. So I showed Clint the ores. Maybe this time he'll be happy with the geology of the mines and he'll just let it be, you know. Day 108, we finally get the fiber seed recipe. This makes getting fiber just way too easy. All you need are mixed seeds, sap and clay. What's going to hold you back there now are the mixed seeds, but you can accumulate those if you just farm the weeds on the ground with the scythe all the time. So I decided to hoe up some ground here, or I suppose blow up some ground, just to save myself from hoeing a load of spots up. And I put down a load of fiber seeds that I made, and these don't even have to be watered. And I'll be able to harvest these in a couple of days. I will have hundreds and hundreds of fiber afterwards. I also went back to Ginger Island and completed the mermaid puzzle. And I also got a ruby there from, that was the east bird, so that went into the east pedestal. I had enough golden walnuts to get another upgrade done, so I decided to get the warp obelisk back to the farm. This would save me a little bit of time when I needed to go back to the farm to do some stuff back there. So I spent the rest of the day cutting down more trees because I needed thousands and thousands of wood for all of the kegs that I will be building later on in the game. I also got some ginger there as well because ginger ale is really nice. Day 109, I gave Lewis a hot pepper. He was super happy with that. You get a lot of friendship points with the NPCs when you give them gifts during the Winter Star event. I got the lovely Marnie for my secret gift giver. She gave me 12 eggs. I wasn't actually too upset with that. That was pretty good. Another day, another quest. 6 red slimes to kill, 750 gold as a reward. I wasn't turning that down at all. It was also Clint's birthday today, so I gave him an aquamarine. That got me a lot of friendship points with Clint, pushing him right up to 8 out of 10 hearts. So I'm getting there now with most of the NPCs. I'm back down into the mines now, and I'm actually farming for more copper ores to smelt into copper bars because I wanted to make more fishing tackles. So after a good few hours of farming copper, I smelted all those ores into bars to make trap bobbers. I just needed copper bars and sap to make these, and these trap bobbers sell for a few hundred gold a piece, and because I can make so many, it's a viable way to make money. Because the crops aren't going to do it for me right now. And once I ran out of sap, I just used up iron bars then to make spinners. They sold for a few hundred gold as well. And I also made cork bobbers using wood, hardwood and slime, because all these fishing tackles sell for the full price, which is amazing. So if I'm going to get anywhere with this playthrough, if I'm going to make some serious progress, a lot of it is going to come down to selling tons and tons of fishing tackles. So the next day I went back into the mines to complete that quest I got from the Help Wanted poster. I just had to kill 6 of these red slimes, and if I saw gold ore I would have grabbed that as well. So I spoke to Lewis, that was another quest complete, more money in my pocket and more friendship points towards Lewis. The more friendship points I can accumulate now the better. 750 gold, nice. So I was up at 48,000 gold now at the moment, but I'm saving up you see for upgrades, that's why I haven't spent the gold yet. So I did another quest here now to kill some rock crabs. The great thing about these quests is that they also count towards monster eradication goals. So everything I'm doing here will accumulate. Day 113, the first day of spring, and new NPC visits. Stardew Valley. Kent is his name, and we had to get him right up to 10 hearts as well. So we had to plan ahead with Kent. So what I wanted to do was, and do it as quickly as possible, is get the theatre up and running. But to do that I needed the final house upgrade, so I needed 100,000 gold to access the cellar to get the silver star wine from a cask. The greenhouse was also complete here now, full of starfruit. Gonna harvest all this starfruit. That will be all turned into starfruit wine, and that is being slowly accumulated at the moment. I'm hoping to get a good few million from that when I have enough. So I went to Robin today. It was time for another house upgrade. 50,000 gold and 150 pieces of hardwood. That put me right back down to 165 gold. I was poor yet again. I did go for the island ingredients quest here to ship 100 pineapples, because I actually had pineapples growing on the farm now at the moment. And I would get the solar panel for completing that quest as well, which I needed in order to get perfection. So I needed to sell some stuff to Willie to be able to afford a ticket over to Ginger Island. So I met some treasure hunters and I foraged some stuff off the beach. That got me up to 3,000 gold. The melon was also ready and the frog inspected that. He will give me 5 golden walnuts for the inspection of that melon. He'll also give me 5 additional golden walnuts for the inspection of the wheat. And he will give me 5 more down the road when I eventually get my hands on a garlic. And I can actually get my hands on that now because it's year 2. So the rest of the day was just spent doing work on the farm. I also got level 10 farming. I'm going with the shepherd here because I want my sheep to produce wool faster, and also I want higher quality wool as well. So it was time to pull up more starfruits, and I was also getting some golden walnuts from this too. You get a total of 5 golden walnuts from farming on Ginger Island. It's broken down into various categories. I also went into Key's secret walnut room and I decided to go with the Key's crop. This will be our first key quest that we're going to do for this series. So the reason why I didn't go with the other one is because I suck at Junimo Cart and it was 100 key gems as a reward for just 500 key fruit. That quest originally used to be 1,000 key fruits, but it was nerfed down to 500 because 1,000 was a bit too hard. Still doable, but very difficult. Key beans can be gotten all over the place. Gus was also on the island today and I decided to get a tropical curry recipe off him because this recipe can be extremely frustrating to get, because you're not guaranteed Gus to visit Ginger Island on, specific days. It's totally random. Also completed that quest there with the gems and I got more golden walnuts. Key beans can also be got from treasure chests, which is really nice. You can put them straight out of the water as well. You can get them from trees. You can get them from blown open nodes such as this. It's got a key bean there. I'm also pretty sure you can get it from killing enemies as well. And they also pop out of chests just like this. So you can get key beans all over the place. You don't actually have to fish for the whole day to get them. Just play as you normally would and you will come across lovely key beans. Because it was raining back on Stardew Valley, I got the scene here of the Joja Mart getting blown open there. And that will activate the last bundle that we need to complete in order to unlock the theatre. It was also Kent's birthday, so I gave him a golden pumpkin and I got a few friendship points from there, which was nice. It was now time to catch the legend. This was the last fish I needed to get the master angler. It took me a few goes to get the legend. It's a very difficult catch, but I got it eventually. And that's all fish now caught in the game, and that will reward me with a star drop off Willy later on. The fibre seeds also grew up into lovely fibre, so I'm going to scythe all those away. The next day I finally get a star drop off Willy for catching all the fish in the game. That was another star drop added to the bag. We are getting closer to perfection. But the main challenge was going to be the golden clock for 10 million gold. That is going to be ferociously hard with the discount rate set to only 25%. So I went into the coop today, lots of stuff on the ground to pick up. I needed to get an auto grabber for that coop, but I just didn't want to pay 25,000 gold for it. I decided to wait until I got one up from the Skull Cavern. I also spoke to Birdie today. She gave me a quest to do. It starts with Kent, who gives you a gourmet tomato salt. You just give that to Gus, he'll give you the Stardew Valley rose. You go all the way to desert with that, give that to Sandy and you get the advanced TV remote. You give the TV remote to George and he will give you the Arctic shard. You then go all the way down to the Wizard's Tower with the Arctic shard and he will give you a wriggling worm. And you then finish up by giving the wriggling worm to Willy, who will give you the Pirate's Locket. And all you do then is bring that back to Birdie and she will reward you with some golden walnuts and a recipe to make fairy dust, which is an absolutely amazing recipe. And it will save us a ton of time when it comes to getting the silver star wine later on from one of the casks. I also got the frog scene here too. He just expected some of the garlics that I put down and he was happy enough with those. 5 more golden walnuts from the frog, so we're definitely getting there with the owl golden walnuts. So this is the first batch of key fruit that I grew. I'm going to get all these key fruits, put them into seed makers and just replant, and I will rinse and repeat until I've got 500 planted, and that'll be the quest done over the next couple of days. So that took me most of the day because I only had a few seed makers to work with. I really needed to make a lot more seed makers to make this quest and future quests go a lot faster. It was that time of the week again. The starfruit has emerged from the kegs. It was time to fill all the kegs back up with more starfruit. That starfruit wine is going to come in super handy later on. But if we want to get to 10 million gold, we have to think bigger. Much bigger. So we need to at least get probably 500 to 600 more kegs. So it was Sunday. That means staircases for us because the crystallariums generate shades all the time. And it was collecting the oak resins from the tappers as well. We had quite the amount of oak resins now inside the chest. Went down through the Skull Caverns today. I got myself some iridium sprinklers. I was pretty happy with that. I was primarily looking for resources so I could make more crystallariums. I got some key beans too from blowing up with some nodes, which was cool. I made it to floor 100 and I drank some iridium snake milk, and that gave me a permanent health increase of 25, which was fabulous. Spent the rest of the day just going through the Skull Cavern. The deeper I got, the better. I got lots of iridium ores, lots of gold ores, lots of stone. I got lots of everything, which was great. So it was time to check out the hidden bundle. And I had most of the stuff there needed. I had the caviar, I had that from ages ago from putting the sturgeon into the fish pond. Had a prismatic shard. I actually had the dinosaur mayonnaise back at home. I just needed to fish up a void salmon, and I also needed to get a silver star wine, and that bundle was as good as complete. It's time for another special orders quest. I'm going to go with a quest called the strong stuff for Pam. So I just needed to get some potatoes for that and just put those potatoes into kegs, and that was another easy quest done. So I purchased 12 potatoes there in total, and I'll just put those down in the greenhouse because there's actually nothing in the greenhouse at the moment. Now eventually that greenhouse will be filled up with other stuff, but for now it was barren, so I just used it for the potatoes. Back to Ginger Island, pulling up more pineapples because I still have the other special orders quest to do for Caroline to ship off 100 pineapples. I did however convert all these ones into pineapple seeds to increase pineapple capacity, and I made sure I had enough time to get that done as well. I also pulled up more key fruit, and this was quite the number of key fruits that I was going to pull up here, and all these key fruits will be converted back into key beans and they will replant it as per usual. That took up a huge amount of time, but it will be worth it because the reward will be 100 key gems. It was time for another key quest. I'll go with extended family. I'll just pull up the fish again. A nice handy dandy 20 key gems for that. It was also Vincent's birthday. Gave him a snail that I had in a chest from ages ago. That was Vincent up to 7 out of 10 hearts. So I pulled up the Glacier Fish Jr. later on that day. That was one of the legendary fish done. I went home and Haley asked me should we have a baby. I said of course. The next day I pulled up the Legend 2. And I just continued on and pulled up the rest of the legendary fish throughout the day, such as the radioactive carp and the son of the crimson fish. And of course we finished up with Miss Angler, and that was the quest complete. More key gems for us in the bag. So this time it was back to the wizard, and I gave him another item that he wanted for a quest. That was an aquamarine that he wanted. That was more gold for us, and it was also the wizard up on 10 hearts. So you're probably going to see a trend form here now where I'm going to the mines a lot to smelt bars. The reason why I smelt so many bars is because I have to make so many things. I need to make tons of kegs, I need to make tons of crystallariums, and that requires tons and tons of bars. So I took a break today. I did the old Easter event, got 1,000 gold for winning that event. I was super happy with that because I already got the straw hat from the year previous. And that night, more lovely starfruit wine was ready to be harvested, so I filled up all the kegs again with starfruit. So the next day it was off to Sandy and needed to buy more starfruit seeds, 100 gold per seed, but it was worth it because the profit I was getting back was pretty good. I was making over 700 gold per wine. So I would get there eventually by just having stacks upon stacks of starfruit wine. That was the overall plan in order to get the golden clock, along with using fishing tackle to get the odd upgrade here and there. But the starfruit wine is more than likely the crop that will do it for us eventually. So I had no money left. I had to sell Willie from Tackles to afford a ticket back over to Ginger Island again. The 1,000 gold for those tickets were killing me, but there was nothing I could do about it at the moment. It was time to harvest more key fruit. The usual story, of course, convert it all back into key beans, plant it, and sell the excess amount. So I now had enough planted so that the next time I harvested, the quest would be complete. Thank God. I hope to never do that quest again. The potatoes were also ready, day 127 now, so we're getting there. And I was going to convert all these potatoes into potato juice, and hopefully that will keep Pam happy for a while. More importantly, it'll give a lot of friendship points towards Pam and a lot of money in our pocket. So because I was using the copper bars and the iron bars to constantly make fishing tackles, I wasn't making as many kegs as I should have been making. And because of that, I had an over accumulation of oak resin. So I actually ended up selling some of the oak resins because I just had hundreds and hundreds of them just sitting there. It was time for another special orders quest. We had a choice for gifts for George or Robin's project. Went with Robin's project because I actually had some hardwood trees grown on the farm. So I cut down all those hardwood trees. That was going to be another easy quest done for the lovely Robin. 80 hardwood, you're welcome. And as a reward, I managed to get 2,000 gold, which was pretty nice indeed. So those special community quests were actually helping a lot in terms of making progress here and there. I also made a couple of looms as well, just so I could get the ball rolling with cloth, because I wanted to mass produce dressed spinners, and to make those you needed lots of iron bars and cloth. I also put a void salmon and I also put a dinosaur mayonnaise into the hidden bundle, just needed a silver star wine next. So I put some void eggs into a chest here for Krobus, he loves void eggs. We would use the void eggs to get Krobus' friendship right up to 10 out of 10 eventually. The void eggs is a cheap and cheerful way to do it. So I gave Evelyn a leek here, she wanted it for George, that was another quest complete. More importantly, it was friendship points towards Evelyn, and that's what we're all about at the moment, it's friendship points. It was time for another key quest, so we're going to go for Danger in the Deep. This will give us access to the hardened version of the mines. It will also give us access to the lovely radioactive bar. Before I went in, it was time to do some weapon upgrades. I put 3 rubies into the Galaxy Sword just to make it a bit stronger, and then it was time to head into the dangerous version of the mines. Made it down to floor 26, passed out, but I got a good bit ways down, so I was happy enough with that. It was Pam's birthday, of course. Give her a cactus fruit, she was delighted. 10 out of 10 hearts with Pam, didn't have to give her any more gifts. Lovely stuff. Back down into the hardened versions of the mines. I was going through the middle tier at the moment, which is one of the more difficult tiers. I got straight down to the 70 floors. I was fighting skeletons, and these were actually dropping lots of bone fragments for me, which was great. And I actually got down into the 90s as well, and I was fighting regular void enemies here. I was getting lots of gold ores, lots of stone. Made it down to floor 120 eventually. Got some key gems as my reward. It was time to head back out onwards to the next day. And as per usual, we have kegs filled up with more starfruit wine. So the trend continues. We're harvesting wine, we're smelting bars, making tackles. Basically, we're just trying to get as much money going as possible. I also got the potato juices for Pam. She'll be super happy with those as well. And it was time for another help wanted quest. It was the golden quest. Harvey this time wanted a diamond. 2,250 gold. That is by far the best quest you can get. Put the potato juice in the fridge for Pam, and as a reward I got 3,000 gold for that, and it was straight after Harvey to get another 2,000 gold for giving him a diamond. So today was an absolutely magnificent day for money. 3,000 off Pam, 2,000 off Harvey. What more could I have asked for? So it was Shane's birthday today. Give him a beer. He was super happy with that. He was up now at 7 out of 8 hearts. I almost had Shane maxed out. It was then back to Ginger Island to pull up the remaining key fruit, and this was going to be the last harvest of key fruit I had to do. This would complete the quest, awarding me 100 key gems in total, which is absolutely fantastic. So when all the key fruit was pulled up, I just replaced it with star fruit, using the Ginger Island farm to its maximum abilities. This is how we're going to get the golden clock. We're just going to have to sell tons and tons of wine along with fishing tackles. So I purchased 3 Galaxy Souls the next day with all of the key gems I had accumulated. I also got key to the town, making access to the NPCs a little bit easier. I did eye up Pierre's missing stock list, but didn't have enough for it at the moment. Also got a banana, finally, off the fully grown banana tree. Gave that to the gorilla, he was super happy with that. As a reward, he gave me 3 more golden walnuts. So I went back into the volcano dungeon today, came across these strange looking mushroom type enemies, but every time I killed one of these enemies, they dropped magma caps, which is an amazingly good food that you can eat. I also upgraded my Galaxy Sword to an Infinity Blade, super happy with that. And it was time for another special orders quest. This time I'm going for a curious substance, because I wanted to get the monster musk off the wizard to make life much easier for me down the road. I also went with Skull Cavern Invasion for the key quest because it was awarding 40 key gems and I had staircases to burn. Because I had the Crusader enchant, these mummies died in literally 2 hits. They also dropped tons and tons of cloth for me, which was magnificent. So I was making it down to the floors, and I got to floor 100, got some quality sprinklers, happy days. The next day, gave the wizard the ectoplasm he wanted, and I was rewarded with 2500 gold, but more importantly, he'll send me the recipe for monster musk the next day. Back into the mines, and we're smelting bars. We're going with iron bars this time, of course, for kegs, for fishing tackles. We needed tons and tons of iron bars. I made some bone mills as well, actually. It was time to get the ball rolling with those. And it was time to start working on Leo. He loves duck feathers. He had 0 out of 10 hearts at the moment because I've been neglecting him. But it was time to make an effort now with Leo. So with the key gems I had, I started off with getting Pierre's missing stock list. This would give me access to all the crops in the game through Pierre, and the rest of the crops through Sandy. I also got a deconstructor as well with the remaining amount. Deconstructor will come in super handy later on. The bone mills are serving me well. What I was looking for here was quality fertilizers, tree fertilizers, and deluxe speed grow. They're all amazing items, and it means I don't have to buy them and waste money. I can just get them off the bone mills because there's tons of bone fragments that you can get from the dig site on Ginger Island. So I went to the flower dance today, asked Marta to dance with me because I needed to get friendship points with her. I'm sure Haley won't mind, of course, you know, especially with having the baby and everything. It was time for another dance off. What I love about this event is that it's one of the best events out there to get hearts up with people. That night, Haley gave birth to a baby boy. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it Garfunkel. Go Garfunkel! I also completed the Island of Greetings quest, 3,750 gold in the bag. Thank you very much. Spoke to Haley. She was super excited about the baby, but I was super concerned because I couldn't see an actual viable way to get access to the baby without moving some furniture around. I also got some tea leaves from Caroline's sunroom, put those into a keg to get green tea to sell that, because in order to get perfection you had to sell one of each item in the game, or one of most of the item types in the game. I also had lots of Omni Geodes, got Clint to break open all those, because I needed to collect all of the minerals in the game. Best way to do that is to get Clint to break open all the Omni Geodes. So I got tons of minerals from that, and as a reward I got a Crystallarium. I was super happy with that. It was also after Desert Trader. Today was Thursday, which means magic rock candy for me. I had the prismatic shards to spare, so I said why not. I also went back into the coop today to collect a huge amount of items that were just left on the ground. I really needed an auto grabber badly, but I didn't want to pay 25,000 gold to get one, so I kept on waiting out for the chances to pick one up in the Skull Cavern. It was also Pierre's birthday today. Gave him a fried calamari. He was super happy with that because he loves that. That got him up to 8 out of 10 hearts, which was great. I made tons of dressed spinners today using iron bars and cloth. I had tons of cloth to spare. The problem was actually iron and bars. Needed to farm a lot more iron. Those dressed spinners will, however, sell for 500 gold a pop. I also activated the Shrine of Challenge, which will now turn the mines into the hardened versions of the mines, which means I can farm radioactive bars. I also went back to the volcano cave today because I wanted to get the ginger ale recipe and the warp totem to the island recipe. This would save me a ton of gold going forward because I already had lots of resources to make warp totems to Ginger Island. So I also went through the rest of the volcano cave, enchanted my pickaxe, got the swift enchant, which means the pickaxe will now swing a lot faster, and I got the shaving enchant for the gold axe, which means I get a lot more wood from the trees now when I cut down the trees. It was then back to the greenhouse to farm more starfruit. So as you can see here now, there's basically a trend of constantly farming starfruit, convert that into starfruit wine, go to the mines, do the quests, accumulate money, and we're just going to keep on accumulating more and more money all the time because we need to in order to get that golden clock. So I tried a tactic now today. I literally spent almost the whole day going up and down into floor 1, literally farming radioactive ores to turn into radioactive bars. Even with 25% discount, these bars should sell for over 1,000 gold a piece, and that was nothing to sniff at. So it was also Emily's birthday today. Gave her the ruby, she was super happy with that. And that was Emily maxed out with 8 out of 8 hearts, one step closer to maxing out all of the friendships in the valley. So this time I decided to put down some ancient seeds inside the greenhouse. These ancient seeds will accumulate and accumulate over time. Also got some battery packs too today from the electrical pylons, which will come in super handy for making more crystallariums later on in the game, because we're going to need hundreds of crystallariums to achieve perfection. So I got lots of radioactive bars today from smelting open the ores. I'm going to sell all those. I also got an ostrich egg over on Ginger Island because I found a letter that showed me the location of one. And I'll be able to hatch an ostrich with that and then sell future ostrich eggs, which is needed for perfection. Finally got forage level 10. Went with botanist, of course, which means every time I pick up an item it's going to be of iridium quality. Look at all the money I get for the mining stuff here. 33, almost 34,000 gold. Iridium bars are going for 1,125 gold per bar. That was absolutely amazing. Time for another special orders quest. This time we're actually going to go with Pierre's Prime Produce, and we're going to try to get 25 gold star vegetables. I felt like I could easily get that because I had lots of quality fertilizer from the bone mills. So I purchased 100 red cabbages, also accepted another Skull Cavern invasion quest. Super lucky there. 40 more key gems in the bag because I had loads of jades, loads of staircases. Planted the red cabbages. I also put down quality fertilizers to ensure that I get gold star red cabbages because I need 25 in total to complete that quest. Spent the rest of the day cutting down trees to accumulate more wood because I wanted to make more kegs. So it was a day of tree cutting for day 142. I also went back into the volcano dungeon here and I was farming magma sprites, magma sparkers, because I wanted to get all of the monster eradication golds. I also got a protection ring too from the chest, which I'll sell later on to Marilyn. I gave Jess a pearl today for her birthday. That got her to 5 out of 10 hearts. Jess was super happy. I made 56 more kegs today because I accumulated enough resources to do so. And by that I mean cutting down a ton of trees. Put the kegs down. I really needed a shed, but its shed cost 15,000 gold. I had to hold off for now. I needed to make a lot more gold, so I basically sold all of the excess stuff that was lying around. I sold unprocessed stuff such as milk and wool. I sold 465 oak resins. Sure, I could have kept them and made more kegs, but they were just over accumulating all the time, so I just said I'd sell them. I had a tree farm set up with 100 tappers, so I know I would get back the oak resins eventually anyway. Made 35,000 gold from all that stuff today. That got me up over 100,000 gold, which means I could finally get the last house upgrade that cost 100,000 gold. I needed that to access the casks, to access the Silver Star wines, to get the movie theatre. So it was basically a huge plan in motion. Look at all the lovely star fruit today. I was going to harvest all this and the whole lot was going to go inside kegs for more starfruit wine. I haven't sold any starfruit wine yet. It's accumulating at the moment. When I do decide to sell it, I will respec into the artisan profession, so it'll be worth 40% more. So we're back to Ginger Island again. Planted more starfruit seeds, and this time it was back down into the Skull Cavern, but this time it was the hardened version of Skull Cavern, so I had to have my wits about me. The good thing about the hardened version of Skull Cavern is that you can also get radioactive ore down here as well. I was also hunting pepper Rexes because I needed to kill those for monster eradication goal. So pepper Rexes were high on the priority list. I didn't do too well that day, didn't make it down to floor 100, but the next day was Sunday, so I traded up, got my staircases and went for another attempt. And today I got down to floor 100 no problem at all. I got a crystallarium on floor 13. An autograbber on floor 36, prismatic shard on floor 56. I was getting great treasures today. Another crystallarium a few floors later. It was just a great day. Anytime I saw huge floors like this with loads of zombies or mummies, I just killed them straight away because I wanted the cloth, and sometimes they dropped between 2 and even 3 pieces of cloth upon death. 65 pieces of cloth, an auto petter, 2 crystallariums, an autograbber. It was an absolutely marvellous day I had in the Skull Cavern. So the house was finally upgraded, and I'm going to fill up all these casks with starfruit wine. And what I'll do is I will wait until they all are of iridium quality, but once the first one reaches Silver Star, I'll take that one out to get the theatre. So I'm going to go with the Juicy Bugs Wanted quest, which is just 100 pieces of bug meat. This will be done very quickly because I have the burglar ring. It was also time to give Gus an orange today, just to get friendship points up with him. That was Gus maxed out, 10 out of 10 hearts. Today was of course Monday, which meant another key quest. I had a choice of keys, prismatic range or extended family. I went with extended family and just pulled up more fish for an easy 20 key gems. So I spent a great deal of time today trying to get these fish. The glacier fish didn't give me an easy time today. It took me a few attempts to get that. I did however one-shot the radioactive carp, one-shotted the son of the crimson fish, and it took me a few attempts to get the legend too. Eventually it decided to take it easy on me and I managed to pull that up out of the water. And we finished up with Miss Angler giving us 20 more key gems in the bag. So Sandy wanted a tuna and she got just that. I didn't have a whole lot of friendship points accumulated with Sandy, so I had to work extra hard with her. Back to the regular mines, collecting iridium bars this time, and smelting copper bars. Why are we smelting copper bars? Because we want more kegs, of course. So it was Maru's birthday today. I gave her a battery pack. She was super happy with that. I also spoke with her after so to get more friendship points, and that would push her to almost 8 hearts. I also snuck beside Demetrius to give his wife a lovely peach. That's right, Demetrius, go to the bed. I'm busy here talking to your wife. Back down into the mines. We are killing bugs to get bug meat. I needed 100 in total, of course. But if I saw copper ores and other stuff, I'd get those as well. If I saw slimes, I'd kill those for slime. Once the quest was done, I put the 100 meat into a container here, and as a reward, I came out with 3,000 gold. I was so happy with that. I went to the luau today as well, put in a gold star sturgeon. I did this because you get a lot of friendship points if you do really well in the luau. The government, of course, was very happy with my sacrifice. So it was time to get more jades from the crystallariums and fill up the kegs with more starfruit. It was just another day on the beach farm, of course. It was back to Ginger Island. The red cabbages were finally ready. Going to harvest all these lovely red cabbages. I also got my first snake vertebrate today. This is just a super rare artifact that's needed to complete Professor Snail's archaeology quest. I needed one more snake vertebrate. Clint wanted more copper ores. It was becoming a big problem. I decided not to take this quest because I was really worried about Clint and his obsession with copper ores. I did, however, complete the quest for 25 gold star red cabbages, and I got 2,500 gold as a reward. Went to the Statue of Uncertainty, 10,000 gold to swap over a profession, so I had to be really careful about using this feature. I decided to respec into Artisan because I wanted to sell some starfruit wines just to get some upgrades done and dusted. So it was Alex's birthday today. I just gave him a rabbit's foot because my rabbit was kind enough to amputate its foot, but not to worry. Rabbits in this game are magical and they will regenerate their limbs no problem at all. I purchased a load of sheep off Marnie just to increase my wool production so I can get more cloth so I can make more dressed spinner tackle. I was running really low on hay, so I just ran around here just to cut away some grass to get some hay. And what I'm doing here is I'm cutting very specifically so that it will grow back a lot faster because there's grass on all sides. Later on that day I made a lot more crystallariums and I decided to just do up the farm a little bit, put down some pathways, change some things around and put down the crystallariums in a better fashion so I can just harvest them a lot more efficiently. I made 447,000 gold today, primarily from selling starfruit wine. 787 gold for a starfruit wine. I know it's not much with the 25% discount, but that's the best we're going to do, and that's what we're going to have to do in order to get things like the golden clock and the warp obelisks. Now we will use tackle as well, but the starfruit wine is going to come in fierce handy. It was time to change out professions again. Now that I sold my starfruit wine, I was going to re-spec into shepherd again. I also used a fairy dust here just so I can get the silver star wine, and now I can get access to the theatre. This was the last item I needed to finish off the missing bundle. So using the theatre, I'll be able to get friendship points up with people a lot easier. Now you can only use the theatre once a week, but it will be so worth it. I can focus on people that I don't have a whole lot of friendship points with, bring them into the theatre and get the hearts up very quickly with them. So we're going back into shepherd. Sheep produce wool faster, befriend barn animals quicker. Bear in mind too that with this profession combined with a sheep that has maxed out hearts, a sheep will produce one wool every single day, which is amazing. Also, an iridium star wool has a 66% chance to get you back 2 pieces of cloth. We're going with cave patrol, slay 50 grubs for Clint. That will pay well, and we'll also get bug meat along the way, so why not? This time we're going to go with Key's Prismatic Grange. I actually had a lot of items lying around the farm, so I felt confident I could do that quest without spending too much money, because money was super important to us at the moment. So to complete the quest I had a huge assortment of different blue items. I also had the usual cherry bombs, copper ores, fibre, sap, white essences. They're all super easy to get. I also had a load of blue items here as well, such as Georgia Colas, Crystal Flute, blueberries, aquamarines. That was another easy key quest done. So using the reward that I got, I decided to purchase up as much recipes as I could, because I'm going to have to make all these recipes at least once to complete certain achievements in this game in order to get perfection, such as craft all items in this game. So I got my gold pickaxe off Clint. It was time to get him to upgrade more stuff, so using the money that I currently had, I was basically going to get Clint to to upgrade all of my tools to iridium quality just to get that done and dusted. You don't need to have all the tools upgraded to get perfection, it just makes life a lot easier when it comes to general progression later on. 6,000 gold for completing the Cave Patrol Special Orders quest, it was so worth doing. So it was Sam's birthday today, gave him a cactus fruit, and that is Sam maxed out, 8 out of 8 hearts, done and dusted. So it was time to get more recipes today, banana pudding for 30 bone fragments, and of course the deluxe retaining soil for 50 cinder shards. That retaining soil is something I might consider later on in the game. Robin also had a huge amount of recipes that I could get, such as flooring and blaziers of course. Now I did have to go out and back into our inventory a few times to get all the blaziers, but I got them all in no time at all. I also got a crafting bench offer as well and some mini fridges. So I got my copper watering can off Clint. It was time to give him another tool to upgrade. This time we'll give him the pickaxe and we'll just finish it off with an iridium pickaxe. Back to Ginger Island, of course the trend continues. We're pulling up more starfruits from the ground. This run is a very grindy run, but there isn't really a choice. If we want to get the golden clock, we have to grind it out. We just gotta bite the bullet and get it done. Back on my regular farm, I was going to put all the starfruit into kegs. The reason why I had all the kegs on the regular farm and not Ginger Island was because I needed the space on Ginger Island to grow the crops. So we're off to Robin's today and we're going to get her to construct a building for us. And what we're going for here is basically a slime hutch. Reason being, to get tons of slime. If I want to mass produce sturdy rings in the future, this would make it a lot more viable of course. It was then down to the usual processing of wool into cloth. Back to Clint of course, got my iridium pickaxe, super happy with that. It was time to upgrade another tool. This time we'll give him the axe, finish that off, upgrade it to the iridium axe, which is going to make life way easier in terms of cutting down trees. So I decided to experiment a bit, swapping out the jades with quartz because I can trade quartz in for bombs and deconstruct bombs into iron ores, smelt those into iron bars so I can mass produce dress spinners. I also got the snake vertebrae, that was the second one. Praise the Lord, it took me so long to get those, but now I can finally complete Professor Snail's archaeology side quests, which will award me with the rest of the golden walnuts. But that won't be all of the golden walnuts, there was still a few left to get via the dart minigame, which I'll do in a couple of days as well. But as a bonus reward, Professor Snail will also give me the recipe to make an ostrich incubator, which we need to hatch a lovely ostrich into our lovely farm, which will generate ostrich eggs, which we can sell to get us one step closer to perfection. So I pulled up some ancient fruits today. All of that will go into the seed makers and those seeds will be put back down into the greenhouse. Eventually this greenhouse will be an ancient fruit greenhouse. After that, Ginger Island will slowly but surely become an ancient fruit Ginger Island farm. And ancient fruit will then be converted into ancient fruit wine. So we will converge from starfruit to ancient fruit. So I placed down my lovely ostrich incubator, put the ostrich egg inside. That's going to take roughly 9 days for that to hatch, but we're very patient people. It was off to the desert trader. I had a couple of jades left over, so I traded up to 152 staircases. That'll keep me going for a while, hopefully. I also hoed up a strange doll from the ground, which I needed to give to Gunter to get the artifact done. It was back to the Stardew Valley farm. This time we were getting battery packs, and all these battery packs would be used of course for crystallariums later on. It was also the dwarf's birthday, so I gave him a gift there. I got some nice friendship points with the dwarf, 8 out of 10 hearts, so we're almost there with the dwarf. I also got my iridium axe back off Clint. It was time to give him another tool to upgrade. This time we'll go with a steel watering can upgrade. And of course it was time for another key quest, another Skull Cavern invasion. I was blessed with Skull Cavern invasions. It's one of the best quests you can get because of the natural resources you can get in the Skull Cavern is just amazing. It was time to get the last few golden walnuts by playing the dart game. The dart game gets harder each time because you get less and less darts to use to get the score down to 0, but it's absolutely not impossible and it is quite fun to play as well. Once I got those 3 golden walnuts, I then had all 120 golden walnuts, gotten one step closer to perfection. So I purchased all the bombs today by trading in quartz. I just had one deconstructor at the moment, so it wasn't very viable right now to spend days deconstructing these bombs into iron ores. I would have to get a lot more deconstructors to make the tactic a lot more viable to use and to profit from. So I saw Leo walking down the path today. I decided to give him a duck feather. That's more friendship points with him. I also gave Clint an amethyst, which is what he was exactly looking for. That was Clint maxed out, absolutely fabulous. Gave Shane a bear, that was Shane maxed out. Gave Pamela a bear, that was Pamela maxed out. I gave Gus an orange because why not? Everyone else is getting gifts, even though he was already maxed out. I didn't want to leave him out of this lovely gift giving event. And I gave Emily an amethyst. That was Emily maxed out. So I left one happy saloon. So I started killing pepper rexes today. I finally got the monster eradication goal for pepper rexes. All that was left was the magma enemies inside the volcano dungeon. I also made it down to floor 100 in the Skull Cavern, completing another key quest, awarding me with more key gems. And of course the trend continues. We are filling up kegs and harvesting kegs with starfruit. I also gave the mayor a truffle oil today because it was a quest that I had. I won't ask him what he wants to do with that, but I will certainly take his money and his friendship. 750 gold in the bag, and that was Mayor Lewis maxed out. An achievement there called the Beloved Farmer, but we still had other NPCs to work on before we maxed out all friendships in the game. I got my steel watering can off Clint. I gave him the can straight back to upgrade to a gold watering can, which will be a great help later on. I then went to Robin and got her to build a shed for me so I can fill it up with more processing machines, but more importantly, I can save some space on the farm. It was then back to Krobus, gave him another void egg. He was super happy with that. With all the money I had, I decided to treat myself to a lovely star drop. This was another star drop in the bag. I actually forgot about this star drop and only found it when I was going through Krobus' inventory. I was under the impression I got it in the last video, but obviously I didn't. I purchased another rare seed because I needed to sell the sweet gemberry for an achievement to get perfection, because the other sweet gemberry was given to the statue to get a star drop. Went back to Ginger Island. I was blown up nodes to get more bone fragments because I wanted to get more lovely items from the bone mills, such as fertilizers and speed grows. Back into the barn, it was time to get more cloth because I wanted to make more dress spinners, of course. I wanted to accumulate hundreds of cloth. So I used deluxe speed grow on all of the fresh ancient fruits here because I wanted them to grow a lot faster because time was of the essence. I also started the chain quest to get access to the casino to get the alien rare crow. So I needed a rainbow shell for the next part, got that off the beach. Actually got 2 rainbow shells so I can sell one. I went to Robin the next day and I got her to upgrade a shed to the big shed. I had lots of money at the moment, so why not? Might as well spend it all and get as much upgrades as possible. Later on in the day I continued with the chain quest for Mr. Key, but what was holding me back now was the 10 beets I needed to place inside Mayor Lewis's fridge. So I had to buy some beet seeds from Sandy, and they were going to take a few days to grow, 6 days in total, but I might be able to speed that up a little bit if I use speed grows, and I had hundreds of speed grows. I got my gold watering can off Clint, and it was time to get it upgraded again, but this time I was going to go with the hoe because I didn't have Iridium bars on me at the moment. I also made some warp totems to Ginger Island, which is going to save me a ton of money because I just didn't want to pay 1,000 gold for a ticket anymore. Once that magma sparker died, that was all of the monster eradication goals completed, one step closer to perfection, and we finished off summer with the lovely Moonlight Jellies event with my lovely wife Hayley. I don't know where the baby went, but I'm sure the baby is okay because it's just a pixelated game. It was time for a help wanted quest with Kent. He wanted an aquamarine to put under his pillow. I really needed the friendship points with Kent, so I took up the quest straight away and gave him that aquamarine along with an egg because he likes eggs. I didn't have any loved gifts for him at the time, so you're just going to have to take the eggs off me. It was time for another special orders quest. We're going to go with the crop order. Ship off 100 pumpkins, and this will give us a lot more money from Mayor Lewis. It was time for another key quest. It was another Skull Cavern invasion. I mean, they just kept popping up every single week. Super lucky, of course. It was also time to buy the last recipe I needed, Hyper Speed Grow. And with the remaining golden walnuts, I just purchased some key gems. With the rest of the key gems, I purchased 2 deconstructors. Super happy with that. So I got flounder roe today because I got rid of the sturgeon and I put in flounders into the pool because I needed to get aged roe to get one step closer to perfection. I also gave Abigail here a ticket to see Mysterium, and this will get friendship points up with Abigail because I wanted to max her out as quickly as possible. I also went back to Clint. I got my copper pickaxe. It was time for another tool upgrade, but I didn't have any bars on me right now, so I'd have to go back to him later on. So it was Penny's birthday. She got a melon from myself. She was super happy with that, and that maxed out Penny. 8 out of 8 hearts. Super happy with that. So day 170, we're almost there. I planted 100 pumpkin seeds on my Ginger Island farm, and I also went back to my regular farm and I picked up these ancient fruit, and these will be converted into seeds and they will be replanted back down on the greenhouse. Eventually the greenhouse will be filled up to the top with ancient fruit. So I visited Gus today, purchased the triple shot espresso recipe because I needed that for perfection, and I also gave some gifts as well. Emily finally got the apricot. She's been asking for almost a year, but I didn't have an apricot tree on the farm. So finally, the tree fully grew inside the greenhouse. I was able to finish off that quest for Emily. 600 gold in the bag. Back to my lovely barn to get more cloth, and then back down into the skull cavern to get radioactive ores, but more importantly, to make it down to floor 100 to get those lovely key gems that I needed for progression. When I got to floor 70, I got a crystallarium. Super happy with that. Crystallarium is probably one of the most important processing machines that I need in order to complete this challenge. Will I complete this challenge within the 200 days? No. Will I complete it within 300 days? I don't know. I'll let you know next week though. I purchased 551 starfruit seeds off Sandy, planted those on Ginger Island. I had to water some because I had to make some extra ground with the hoe. Day 173, we are smelting copper bars because I need to make more kegs, a lot more kegs. Once all the copper bars have been smelted, I made 61 more kegs to put into that lovely shed that has just been built. So this shed will be filled up to the top with kegs. I also have lots of kegs outside as well that can go inside. So I filled up all these kegs with more starfruit because I had an overabundance of starfruit that I had to get through. I also gave Elliot a duck feather for his birthday, that maxed out Elliot. Clint wanted 45 more copper ores. Absolutely not, Clint. I'm sorry, but you need to give it up. I'm worried about you, Clint. Just take up some other hobby. Ask Emily out on a date, why don't you? So I get Robin to make me a stable, and the reason why I wanted Robin to make me the stable is because it allows me to transverse the map more quickly, saving more time, getting more stuff done. I also paid Clint a visit, got him to upgrade my hoe to a steel hoe. I'll have that done in a few days. Back to the regular mines, and we are getting iron bars, so I'm constantly smelting bars, as you can see. This has to be done so I can just keep making processing machines and I can keep making fishing tackles. Smelting iridium bars now. I'm gearing up to get more crystallariums later. Went to Gil here, I got a napalm ring, super good, and I got some cool hats. Decided to put on the arcane hat and change up my character a bit. And look at me now, I was styling with my new arcane hat. I was ready for action. I got super lucky as well, super rare event here. The strange capsule landed on my farm. I'll put this inside the house. Something does break out of that eventually, so it's really cool when it happens. I also put the 10 beats inside Mary Lewis's fridge. That continued on the chain quest to get into the casino. And I put a solar essence into the skeleton's mouth there, which apparently is a sand dragon. And I finally got the club card just outside my house. So now I can access the casino and get the goodies that lie within. I also spent some time today pulling up fish because I needed certain fish to get certain recipes done. I needed to think about cooking up recipes now. I also named my horse Chuck because my dog in real life is named Chuck and he's an awesome dog. So let's go Chuck, let's get perfection together. So back to the mines today, we're getting more bars, iridium bars, this time lots of them. Went back to Clint, got my steel hoe, and it was time to upgrade it to a gold hoe, and then after that it'll be upgraded to an iridium hoe. That'll be all the tools upgraded then, except of course the bin. Finally fished up a salmon, needed that to make the salmon dinner recipe. And I also fished up some sea cucumbers here, needed those to make lucky lunches. And I also needed the eel as well to make spicy eel. So I was now just accumulating specific kinds of fish for those recipes. I also went with another special orders quest today. This time we were going with Gus's famous omelette. This will be a super easy quest. I've got loads of chickens that are just too happy to lay eggs for me. It was time for, yes you guessed it, another Skull Cavern invasion. We weren't going to play Junimo Kart. Absolutely not. I'm just too bad at it. I apologise. 40 key gems for Skull Cavern invasion. Back into the barn. We are getting cloth. We're getting cheese. We're making money. Back to the greenhouse. We're putting up ancient fruit. Convert those into seeds. Plant them back down in the greenhouse. Our ancient fruit farm continues to grow. We get the gold hoe off Clint. We're going to give that straight back to him. Upgrade that to an iridium hoe. Thank you very much, Clint. I finally made it to the casino. I played some card games, went double or nothing a few times so I could afford the alien rare crow, which was one of the last rare crows I needed in order to get access to the deluxe rare crow, which we need in order to get perfection. So I left the casino. I'm probably never going to go back there, of course. Back to the farm, and we were getting more starfruit wines. So we had hundreds and hundreds of starfruit wines collected at this stage of the game. So it was Jodie's birthday, gave her a diamond, more friendship points with Jodie, 9 out of 10 hearts, so we're almost there with Jodie. Purchased the magic rock candy, that was the second one. So today I took the magic rock candy, went down through the hardened version of Skull Cavern, and I've got some real good stuff in the treasure rooms. 10 bombs, wow. The real prize for me was getting rooms like this filled up to the top with mummies because they die so easily and they give so much cloth. It was a cloth paradise. I visited my lovely pet slimes today in the slime hutch. I put a slime egg into the incubator there and there was a few slime balls that I could harvest. I decided to leave it off though and I'd harvest them later when more slime balls accumulated. I also finished off Gus's quest today by putting some eggs into his fridge. That awarded me with 3,000 gold. I was super happy with that. Back to the Desert Trader today, of course, and this time I had tons of quartz, almost 1,000 pieces of quartz. I got back 192 bombs, and the plan was to deconstruct these bombs to get tons of iron ores. I still didn't have enough deconstructors to make this tactic truly good, but I could make lots of dress spinners out of the resources I used today. So much so that I ended up getting loads of money from selling the fishing tackles today. Each dress spinner was sold for 500 gold. This gave me a total of almost 33,000 gold from selling dressed spinners. Who thought the day would come where you had to sell tackle to make a living in this game? It was Abigail's birthday today. Give her an amethyst. Just pushed her right up to 7 out of 8 hearts. So I was almost there with Abigail. And it was like this for a lot of the NPCs now. Almost had them all maxed out. Got my iridium hoe back off Clint. That was all of my primary tools fully upgraded except for, of course, the watering can, which Clint will upgrade right now. So it was now time to buy the warp totem recipe off the Desert Trader, followed by a lovely cozy visit to Robin's house where I gave her a peach, maxing out her friendship 10 out of 10 with Robin. I also maxed out Linus by giving him a coconut. He was super happy with that. Gave Alex a rabbit's foot. He was almost there, just one more heart to go with him. Sam got a cactus fruit, that pushed him up to 8 out of 8 hearts. Fabulous. Sebastian got a sashimi, 5 out of 8 hearts with Sebastian. There was a bit of work left to do with him, but we'll get there. The next day it was time to pick up some truffles, pet our lovely ostrich. Look at it go. That will eventually start laying ostrich eggs. I can sell that egg then and be one step closer to achieving perfection. It was usual story today, so we're going to fill up the rest of the greenhouse now with these ancient seeds. And then the ancient seeds we get going forward will make their way over to Ginger Island and that will slowly but surely become an ancient fruit farm as well. And that's going to mean lots of extra money for us. So I got another shed off Robin today. I'll just put that down beside this shed for now. I will move them around eventually, make the farm look a bit nicer. Went to the quarry today. I spent the whole day in the quarry just doing up this place. I got rid of all resources here and I'm going to put down trees and I'm going to put tree fertilizer on all of these trees to make them grow super fast. Then I will cut down these trees to get an absolute ton of wood. Finally got my iridium watering can back off Clint. That was all primary tools upgraded, except for the trash can of course, but we can come back to the trash can later on. Today it was time for another special orders quest. We're going to go with Cave Patrol with Clint, and we're going to kill 50 bats if we come across them of course. So the pumpkins were finally ready over on Ginger Island. They're going to harvest all these pumpkins and then ship them off, and that'll be another special orders quest completed. The pumpkins will now be replaced with lovely ancient seeds. And those ancient seeds will continue to grow and spread. So we have a choice now for key quests, 4 precious stones or Skull Cavern Invasion. I went with 4 precious stones because I had prismatic shards to burn. And it was an easy 40 key gems just to get that done as well. So I teleported back off to Ginger Island with my prismatic shards. That was probably the fastest key quest that I've done to date. That awarded me with 40 more key gems. I also got 4,000 gold for the crop order for the pumpkins. And I decided to buy a full stack of starfruit this time from Sandy, just to save myself from going back and forth all the time getting starfruit. It was very cheap, I had lots of money, so why not? So I went back to the quarry today. I decided to put down a path, making it super easy to replenish these trees later on when they get cut down with more tree seeds. It'll save me so much time to do so. So I spent the rest of the day just putting down a path, making sure that I do it correctly, so that future generations of tree farms will be super easy to make. These trees will be fully grown in a few days, so I'm looking forward to cutting all those down. Back to Ginger Island, and we have a lot more starfruit here that we can harvest. And all these starfruit, of course, will be processed into starfruit wine. So I swapped out the quartz again with jades, and the reason why I done this is because I just didn't have enough deconstructors to make my quartz tactic for iron bars that efficient just yet. But I will swap back eventually when I have a lot more deconstructors to play around with. For now, it was going to be jades, it was going to be staircases, it was going to be skull cavern runs for tons of resources. Went to Robin as well. We're going to upgrade a shed to another big shed. That'll be the second big shed we have on the farm. We're smelting gold bars today, and we're also going to get the weathered floor recipe off the dwarf. We're also going to get the final rarecrow that we needed in order to get the deluxe rarecrow. So it was Marnie's birthday today. Gave her the diamond. Marnie maxed out. Happy days. I also had a look at the quest. Sebastian wanted a cave card, 75 gold. It wasn't about the gold though, it was about friendship points towards Sebastian. Gave him the cave card straight away. That followed a sashimi, hoping it would be enough to max out his friendship. Not quite, still 7 out of 8 hearts, so I had a normal conversation with him, and that was enough. That's why it's so important to always just have random conversations with the NPCs. I put a slime jack into the fish pond just to shake things up a bit. Slime jacks do have a chance to give back slime on occasion. I also did to my slime hutch, and I got all the lovely slime balls. This was going to get me a lot more slime to play around with, so I can make sturdy rings if I wanted to. So back outside after this with the slime I had accumulated, gave that to the slime jack fish pond. 20 slimes in total, that is the first quest completed with them. I had over 200 Omni Geodes here for Clint to break open, which should finish out the mineral artifacts, and it did. Once I gave Gunther all of the mineral artifacts, it was then a matter of getting all of the other regular artifacts. So all of the minerals were done. Let's have a look at the other artifacts here. And I was missing quite a few. So what I done was I went back to the desert trader with the Omni Geodes and I traded up for artifact troves. Now it was 5 Omni Geodes per artifact trove, but it was worth it because I got 30 artifact troves right there. I'll get Clint to break open all these and hopefully I'll get the bulk of what I need out of it. You can also get other very interesting things such as golden pumpkins and pearls from these artifact troves, and they make for the best love gifts in the game. I also got some treasure chests, but because of the 25% discount rate, it was only worth 1,250 gold instead of the usual 5,000 gold. That was unfortunate. I also hauled up a strange doll as well, which I needed, and it was time to give more artifacts in to Gunther. Did I have all the artifacts needed to get another star drop? I didn't. I did, however, get a magic rock candy. Super happy with that. Just a few artifacts to go, however, so I should have that done eventually. Back over on Ginger Island, I was looking for more bone fragments, so I was just blowing up some more stuff again, because I wanted to get more tree fertilizers, speed grows, and quality fertilizers for future crops and whatnot. So I was filling up the bone mills here. These bone mills are just so overpowered. They were saving me a fortune on resources to make more money. I also went to the desert trader and I traded up 106 jades for 106 staircases, thank you very much. But this time I was going to deconstruct these staircases into stone. The reason why I needed so much stone is because I wanted to make more crystallariums, and a crystallarium requires 100 stone each. I made 7 crystallariums there. I ran out of stone, but I did have a lot of iridium bars and gold bars, so the deconstructor now means that I will never have issues again in terms of generating stone. So it was back to the greenhouse, pulling up more ancient fruit. These of course will all be turned into seeds and they'll go over to Ginger Island. So for the second big shed, I filled it up with crystallariums. All of these will be generating jades of course, for staircases and for stone. I also pulled up the sweet gem berry over on Ginger Island as well, and I'm going to ship that off. And that was the last thing I needed to ship off in order to get the achievement for shipping everything off in the game. So there was a choice here of Keys Cuisine and Keys Prismatic Grange. There was no way I was going to do Keys Cuisine, not with a 25% discount rate, not with the money I currently had. So I went with Keys Prismatic Grange again. This time though, it was super easy to do, because I had all the resources prepared for it in case it happened again. I also went with Robin's Resource Rush. She wanted 1,000 pieces of stone. That was going to be super simple. I just had to collect it from the deconstructors, and that quest was going to be done in no time at all. As we can see, 594 stone collected already from the deconstructors. I just had to do one more round of deconstructing and that quest was in the bag. As we can see, the quest was good as done. I get to keep the stone of course, and I get 2500 gold from Robin. Back to Key's secret walnut room with all of the items needed to complete the quest. What were we going to do with our hard earned key gems? So we had a choice between the horse flute and more deconstructors. I was going to go with the horse flute this time because summoning the horse on Ginger Island, it means a lot more time can be saved, a lot more resources can be gathered. I also purchased some key seasonings to make some elite food in the future if I wanted to, and I also got some magic bait if I needed certain types of fish to make certain types of recipes. If I was out of season, it didn't matter with the magic bait. So today was another day of just collecting resources. I got all the jades here from the crystallariums and I filled up the other crystallariums with those jades that were just generated. I also gave Pierre a rabbit's foot. That maxed out his friendship, which was great. I also gave Evelyn a diamond. Now this almost maxed out her friendship. One more gift with her should do the job. Vincent was also in the same boat. He was 9 out of 10 hearts, so one more gift with him should do the job as well. Leo was also in the same boat. I made a great comeback with Leo here. He was also 9 out of 10 hearts, so we'd have him done very quickly as well. Leah was also in the same boat, very close to maxing her out, and we're also very close to maxing Kent out as well. So there was just a handful of Stardew Valley villagers that were very close to being maxed out. I also got the full shipment achievement, which is needed for perfection. The Sweet Gem Berry sealed the deal for us there, so that is one step closer to getting perfection in this game. But the massive hurdle will of course be the golden clock. 10 million gold with a 25% discount rate. Of course it will take another 100 days to do that, but honestly I don't know if it can be achieved with just another 100 days, but it will be very interesting to find out. Back to the quarry today. All of the trees have grown. I couldn't blow these trees up, of course. I would destroy the pathway I made. I had to use my axe, cut down these trees manually. I did however have the shaving enchant with an iridium axe, so it only took a few swings and I was getting a lot more wood than these trees would normally give. So it was basically a whole day of cutting down trees and then replanting these slots with seeds. Look how easy it is to put down the seeds now that I have a pathway set up. It took me no time at all to get those seeds put down. I also gave Jess a pink cake, 9 out of 10 hearts with her. We got Krobus, maxed out friendship, absolutely delighted with that. We also give Leo another duck feather today, that maxed out his friendship, which was absolutely fantastic. Just a few NPCs to go. That was Leo in the bag. So I went to the event tonight. I got the rare crow that I couldn't afford during the last playthrough. I made sure I got it this time, and that was actually the last rare crow that I needed to finally get the deluxe rare crow. The deluxe rare crow covers twice the tiles of a regular rare crow or scarecrow, so it's definitely something that you should make. It's something that every crop farmer should have in terms of saving tile space. We're back in the greenhouse, of course, putting up ancient fruit, convert those into seeds and bring them over to Ginger Island. So I gave Jess a golden pumpkin today that maxed her out, of course. Another NPC in the bag with max friendship. Gave Leah another salad. This finally maxed out Leah, so we were finished with talking to Leah for good. We could move on with other stuff. It was time to check out the daily quests, and Clint was at it again. He wanted more copper ores. Clint had a serious problem, so we didn't want to feed his addiction by doing that quest, so we decided to ignore it. We did, however, give Evelyn a lovely pearl, and that maxed out friendship with her. It was time to go to Kent at this time. I had a golden pumpkin for him, gave him that. That put him right up to 9 out of 10 hearts. The rest of the day was spent crafting some items, so I had enough resources gathered to craft all of the items on the first crafting list here. And I would have to craft all the items in the game, of course, to reach closer to perfection. But I would get there eventually. So I gave Clint a cinema ticket today. He said he'd go. That should get him the last heart that I needed, and that would then complete another quest to maximize friendship with all of the NPCs in Stardew Valley, getting us one step closer to perfection. So we went and saw the Miracle at Cold Star Ranch together, and he loved the popcorn I gave him as well. And when we came out, he had the lovely star underneath his portrait. That was Kent maxed out. So I now had a 10 max friendship with all of the NPCs, except Garfunkel, but we would get there with the baby one day. Time for another quest, Skull Cavern Invasion or Keys Hungry Challenge. They're both more or less the same in essence, where you're going down with staircases, so we might as well go with Skull Cavern Invasion because it gives more key gems. It was time to put more bone fragments into the bone mills and upgrade the watering can to give the efficient enchant. I didn't want that. I will come back eventually and try to get something better. For example, reaching to give more tile space with it, or to give it an unlimited supply of water. For the rest of the day, I just put some ancient seeds down in the Ginger Island farm. I had over 200 ancient seeds to use, so I used them all up, and that was a good portion of the Ginger Island farm covered. For the rest of the available slots, I just filled them up with starfruit, and then used my deluxe speed grow that I've been getting from the bone mills to speed up the growth rate for the ancient seeds. So it was time to go back to the regular farm and look at all this lovely starfruit wine that I was getting. I also put some kegs down in the cellar as well, and it was time to reform the farming profession. This time we were going for agriculturist to get the 10% growth rate on the crops so the ancient fruits would grow faster. Look at all the lovely slime balls I can get today. This was going to get me back hundreds of slime, over 700 slime right there, and that was just all in a couple of days, which was great. Back to Robin, of course. It was time to construct another building. This time we were going to go with another shed. We had the money, so why not? We needed the storage space. I could put kegs in other places, but I had a lot of space to use up on the beach farm. So we finally made it to day 200. What a challenge this was. I just spent today just doing the Skull Cavern Invasion, got down to floor 100, got the Iridium Sprinklers, I got some other good stuff as well, and more importantly I got key gems. So that sums up another 100 days of playing Stardew Valley on hardcore mode. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe, because these videos take so long to do. They take basically a whole week of work. Some days could require 15 hours of work, some days could require 12 hours, but it is a lot of work to do every day to get these ready on a weekly basis. Will I achieve perfection in the next video? It's tight, but it could be possible. As per usual, thanks so much for your support, I really do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now, and I hope you have a fabulous week.